Try something right now. Don't say anything out loud. Just think about what you had for breakfast this morning. Go ahead. Now here's the question. What language did you just think in? Was it words at all? Or was it something else? A flash of an image, a feeling, a kind of knowing that didn't need words to exist? Because here's the thing most people never stop to ask. When you think, are you actually using language? Or is language just the costume your thoughts wear before they walk out into the world? Most of us assume we think in whatever language we speak. If you speak English, you think in English. Simple. Obvious. But then explain this. Have you ever had a feeling you couldn't put into words? Not because you were bad at explaining, but because the feeling existed before the words did, before you could name it, before language even got involved. You knew something. You felt something. You just couldn't say it yet. That gap, between the thought and the word, is one of the most important clues about how your mind actually works. Because it means at least sometimes, your thinking happens before language, which opens up a deeply strange possibility. What if language was never doing the thinking in the first place? What if it was only ever the translation? Here's what cognitive scientists and neuroscientists have actually found when they started studying this seriously. Your brain doesn't think in language. It thinks in something much more fundamental, something researchers call Mentalese. Not a real language, not words, not grammar, just raw concepts, pure meaning. Thought in its most basic form before any language shapes it. When you see a dog, your brain doesn't process the letters D, O, G. It processes the concept, the shape, the movement, the feeling of dog. The word comes after. It's just the label your brain slaps on something it already understood. And here's the proof that will genuinely mess with you. Studies on people who are born deaf, who have never heard or learned any spoken or signed language whatsoever, show that they still think. They still solve problems. They still dream. They still have opinions and preferences and emotions and memories, without a single word ever entering their brain. Which means thought, real thought, doesn't need language to exist. Language is not the engine. It's the exhaust pipe. The thinking already happened. Language is just what comes out the other end. But here's where it gets stranger. Because language doesn't just describe thought. It also shapes it. There's a language spoken in northern Australia called Guugu Yimithirr. And the people who speak it don't use words like left and right. Ever. Instead of saying, turn left at the corner, they say, turn north at the corner. Instead of, the cup is to my right, they say, the cup is to the east. They always, without exception, use absolute directions. North, south, east, west. Even indoors. Even in the dark. Even when they have no way of seeing where north actually is. And here's what researchers found. Guugu Yimithirr speakers have an almost superhuman sense of direction. They always know exactly which way they're facing. Always. Automatically. Without thinking. Because their language forced their brain to track it constantly. The language didn't just describe the world. It rewired how the brain experienced it. Now think about what that means for you. The language you grew up speaking didn't just give you words. It gave you a specific way of cutting up reality. A specific way of noticing things. A specific set of concepts that feel natural and obvious to you, but might be completely invisible to someone who speaks a different language. There's a word in Portuguese, saudade. It describes a deep emotional longing for something you love that is gone, tinged with the knowledge that it may never return. A beautiful sadness. A warm grief. English doesn't have that word. Which raises an uncomfortable question. Do English speakers feel saudade? Or do they not feel it because they have no word for it? Or do they feel it, but can't quite hold on to it, can't quite name it, so it slips away before they can examine it?
In 1970,
A 13-year-old girl was found in Los Angeles who had spent her entire life locked in a single room. Her name was Genie. She had never been spoken to, never been taught language, never heard normal human speech for the first 13 years of her life. When she was found, she had no language, none, not even broken fragments. And yet, she thought. She understood things. She had preferences. She communicated through gesture and expression. She recognized faces and emotions. She had a full inner world with zero language to describe it. What researchers found when they tried to teach her language afterward was heartbreaking and fascinating at the same time. She learned words, slowly, hundreds of them, but she never fully acquired grammar, the deeper structure of language, the part that lets you build infinite thoughts from finite words. That window had partially closed. There is a period in childhood when the brain is primed to absorb language almost automatically. After that, it becomes much harder. Genie's case suggests something profound. Thought comes first, language comes second. But language, once it arrives, changes the thought. The two are not the same thing, but they are not separate either. They shape each other, constantly, for your entire life. So back to the original question. Can you think in a language you've never learned? The answer is, you already do. Every time you have a feeling before you find the words for it. Every time you understand something before you can explain it. Every time you dream in images and sensations and emotions that no language quite captures. That is thinking without language. That is your mind in its most raw, most honest, most fundamental form. Before English, before grammar, before any word anyone ever taught you. There is something in there that already knew. Language just gave it somewhere to live, and somewhere to hide. The next time you're struggling to find the words for something you feel deeply, remember, the feeling was there first. The words are just catching up.